Good morning, citizens. How are you guys doing? Lovely Wednesday. I know we thought it was Thursday this morning. It's Wednesday morning. Happy October. How are you guys all doing? Today we have a great show. Fires, Feuds, and Fizz is the title. So we got Spencer Pratt. We're going to be talking about the California fires. Feuds, it's New York Times versus Justin Baldoni again. It's like they were already out and they want back in with attorney fees. And a lot of people don't think this is a good idea. So we're going to get into that. Why the New York Times wants smoke, I don't know. But apparently, huge company, but they still want up to $150,000. I think they're asking for attorney's fees from Justin Baldoni for the defamation lawsuit against them. And we also have Miss Betty Buzz herself over here hawking alcohol. Both of these guys hawking alcohol. So yesterday was Inez's birthday. Inez, if you guys don't know, Inez Reynolds is Ryan and Blake's daughter, the one that was in the Deadpool movie, Deadpool versus Wolverine movie that had to say those inappropriate things. Instead of a birthday tribute, she posted her hawking her booze. So we're going to get into that, her Instagram post, as well as they filed a response to or an answer to the motion for judgment on the pleadings. So we're going to get into that as well. And so we're going to end off with Blake today. So that's going to be the show. Happy October, everyone. Today is October 1st. New month. We are 9 months or 10 months. Today marks 10 months. 10 months into the Baldoni versus Lively saga, or entering our 10th month. And this week, I guess from now until the 10th, they've got 4 depositions coming, right? So it's going to be the big 4, which is Baldoni, Sarowitz, Heath, and who's the other one? Who am I missing? It's Baldoni, Heath, Sarowitz. Maybe it was just 3. But yes, Megan Twohey just dropped a New York Times article about Elon Musk's father and South Africa. Maybe they're preparing to be sued again. What? I'm going to have to look into that. Send me the link, Miley, on X. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I know that their defamation lawsuit that Trump brought against them got dismissed. So we'll see what happens with that. Yes, Wrathful. Good morning. Good to see you here again. It's officially spooky season. Yes, it is. Hey, Jesse and Max. Good morning. So we're going to get right into it, folks. We're going to go ahead and get into the Spencer Pratt of it all. As you guys remember, we had Spencer Pratt, a whole episode on it. I forget what the episode is called, but if you guys look on my lives, you guys can just look at the thumbnail that has Spencer on there. We've had 2 updates on it. But for those who are just coming in and don't know what the feud is, Spencer Pratt he lived in the Palisades. When the Palisades fire happened, he lost his home. His parents lost his home. And there was also 12 senior citizens who passed away from those fires, weren't able to get out in time and all that stuff. So he decided to take on this fight against the city. They filed a lawsuit, him and his wife, and some other residents also filed a separate lawsuit against the city. So the city has a couple lawsuits against them in regards to this fire with lack of water. There was no water in the fire hydrants. The reservoir was empty. All the brush in the park, because apparently the fire started with like a brush fire that didn't get completely put out in one of the parks. And because they hadn't cleaned up all the brush around the park as they should, which, Spencer Pratt brought receipts that, this is what you got. This is how you guys should upkeep parks. And you guys didn't do this. And this is what led to the fire. So he started getting on their butts. He started pulling out receipts. He started saying, like, you didn't do this, this, and this. And when I say they, I mean the city, mostly Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. Is it Bass or Bass? Karen Bass? I think it's Bass. Jane says, I love Spencer. And so he has made this his whole thing. He lost everything. And instead of being complacent or, doing, he was for a little bit supporting Heidi and her musical career and stuff like that. But he's doing both. He's supporting Heidi as, supportive husband, and he's fighting the big fights. So I really appreciate him, because he could have gone and done anything else to, help with, he has his podcast and stuff, so he's doing both, I guess, but he could have gone and done anything else, but he's not. He's fighting for, these victims, these 12 senior citizens, and he's just on their butt. So we're going to go ahead and get into his latest, because not only is he fighting for the Palisades fire, but now he is fighting for the freedom of speech of you guys, the citizens. And there is a law in California that is, I guess, being put on the, let's just bring it up here, so because they can say it a lot better. I just realized that I didn't have the stage up for this, but let me remove that. And let me put myself a little small so you guys can see. Good morning, DFJ. How are the animals? Are you doing the animal rounds? Okay, so this is what we're doing today. It's California has another Spencer Pratt problem. The former MTV star is protesting the proposal, arguing it would give Democrats license to crack down on any online speech they don't like. So we're going to get into what he's doing with the fire and the fire update, but this is the very latest. This was just a couple days ago, and he is now taking on another fight, and I'm just like, wow, since when did Spencer become like this, fighter for, or activist? Like, this is really cool, and I like him. A lot of people have their opinions about him, and it says right here, the self-proclaimed guy you love to hate from MTV The Hills is wading into social media policy. But I love this for him. So let's get into it. It says former reality TV star and self-proclaimed guy you love to hate, Spencer Pratt, is once again dogging California lawmakers, this time on social media policy. And he's not the only one with complaints. Pratt, along with social media platforms X and Parler, are urging Governor Gavin Newsom to veto a bill from Democratic State Senator Henry Stern that threatens penalties up to $1 million when large social media companies promote violent or extremist content to their users. Pratt, X, and Parler argue that stiff penalties will give Newsom and Democrats license to crack down on any online speech that they don't like. What do you think the social media platform is going to do when they get a little invoice for $1 million? They're going to say, oh, no, we deleted that account. Sorry, Pratt said in a video posted this week on X and directed at Newsom. We're going to watch his video really quick. Since you love talking about free speech so much, let's not make laws that target free speech. He did not respond for any additional comments. It says Stern's allies argue it's a gross mischaracterization of their measure. And this is what a lot of people even say about all the other stuff he's saying about the fire. They're like, it's misinformation, you're not informed. But no, he's informed. It says Pratt's 2.2 million TikTok followers paired with thinly veiled lawsuit threats from X and others makes this last-minute offensive a formidable threat to state Democrats' push for social media controls, basically saying he's got a large platform. For starters, Pratt is relentless because earlier this summer, he helped derail a Los Angeles wildfire recovery bill by ginning up drama with the same fiery passion that made him a star on MTV's The Hills. Pratt has continued blasting Dems over housing policies since then, though some of his videos have mischaracterized the measures he opposes, which is what they keep saying is that he's mischaracterizing it. But he did, he was able to derail the bill where they wanted to build like more houses in the Palisades area. And I guess it was going to be like harder for evacuations and all this stuff. So they ended up not including the Palisades area. It says Stern was the target of Pratt's ire back in July during a kerfuffle over the state's wildfire response. So the same guy that's doing this bill, he's gotten smoke from Pratt before. It says the Malibu Democrat mocked Pratt by posting a link of an unflattering tabloid story, resulting in a furious response from Pratt, who accused the senator of spreading misinformation. And that's the thing. It's like these senators are going after him, calling him a C-list celebrity and like all this stuff. It's like, if it wasn't lies or anything, wouldn't you just ignore it? Why would you try and like bully them or go after their image or anything like that? It says Pratt is running a similar playbook against Stern's social media bill SB 771. So this is the bill, the free speech or anti-free speech bill, I guess. On Thursday, he posted yet another video urging his followers to call Newsom's office and demand that they reject it, citing the governor's vocal support for free speech after ABC temporarily pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live. So he's like, You said this with Jimmy. I would think that it's a priority for all the 400 plus celebrities that were fighting for free speech last week and all the people boycotting Disney at ABC. You know, what's more important than Jimmy Kimmel's show on ABC? Your phone and being able to get information on social media apps. It says this time it's Stern and his allies who feel misrepresented. Ed Howard, a lawyer and policy advocate of the University of San Diego Children's Advocacy Institute, which is sponsoring SB 771, told Politico that Pratt's claims about the bill are 180 degrees from what the bill does. Stern, who was traveling outside the country, wasn't immediately available for comment, but he has pitched this measure as a response to rising hate crimes, as well as how platforms like Meta and X have relaxed content moderation standards following complaints from President Donald Trump and Republican allies that stringent online policing suppresses conservative views. And we know that YouTube has done a complete 180 because, you know, they're the ones who kicked out a lot of like the conservative voices from YouTube. And now they're saying, oh, well, that was Biden's administration that made us do it. And now people can come back. So, I mean, this is just crazy. Howard said SB 771 only punishes platform if their content delivery algorithms promote the posts on, like, say, the For You page. Hate speech is not protected under the First Amendment. The standard is rooted in California civil rights law, which prohibit discrimination based on race, sex, and other characteristics. But see, that's the thing. It's like the interpretation of what hate speech is, too. The most offensive, the most salacious, the rudest, the most inflammatory speech, all of that is protected. None of that is covered by SB 771. It is only when speech is transformed into the kind of threat that would prevent you from speaking. So that doesn't make sense. But still, Stern's bill could be ripe for a lawsuit, nor would it be the first California social media measure to be challenged in court. Ashken Kazarian, a First Amendment legal scholar at Vanderbilt University, told Politico that Stern's attempt to regulate algorithms designed instead of content moderation practices comes with its own free speech concerns. And this is where he does this analogy, which I felt was really a really good analogy. It says you can't hold a bookstore liable because it displayed a controversial book in the front window rather than leaving it in the back, right? She said in an interview. SB 771 stretches civil rights laws to penalize platforms. Kazarian said she was very confident that the bill would draw a court challenge. I'm not a betting woman, but I believe that under the current president that is established in the Ninth Circuit, this law would be unconstitutional. So this is someone who knows and is backing what Spencer Pratt is saying. And meanwhile, they're like, no, he's misinterpreted. But this is someone separate from Pratt that's, you know, co-signing his thoughts. There's no shortage of possible plaintiffs ready to sue if Newsom signs this bill. X's Global Government Affairs Office accused California lawmakers of knowingly undermining First Amendment protections in their own post on Wednesday. Paul Task, co-director of litigation for tech industry trade group NetChoice, called SB 771 patently unconstitutional as well. So it's not just a Spencer Pratt thing. This is now what 4 people were seeing. Both X and NetChoice have previously sued to block California social media laws over First Amendment complaints, including efforts to impose kid-friendly design standards and crack down on AI-generated deepfakes, as well as other content moderation tools. It would be more wasteful spending of taxpayer dollars to have to defend this in court, said X's Global Government Affairs account. The lawsuits might not stop with Stern's bill. Zach Lilly, NetChoice's deputy director of state and federal affairs, claimed 3 other Democrat-led bills that would require age checks online, which I've been reading about this in the UK and all the trouble they've been having where some people try to check and they're like, oh, you're 12. And they're like, 19 or 20. And all the difficulties that they're having, they're trying to figure out like which ways do we have third-party ways to check online age, online verification, where you have to provide like a bank account or something like that. And it's really interesting conversation. Maybe I'll do an episode on it because while it is much needed to keep kids off the internet in that way, there's also other implications to it. Slap health warning labels on social media and mandate kids safeguard rails for AI companion chatbots. They all pose free speech threats. Unfortunately, California seems to be applying the old Silicon Valley adage, move past and break things to the First Amendment, or move fast and break things to the First Amendment, Lilly said. Lawmakers aren't sweating it, though. Buffy Wicks, who authored the age verification bill, said her measure sidesteps First Amendment complaints by sending users' age to apps without imposing specific content moderation tools. But you'll see because the UK who has, or it's not the UK, I think it's Australia. I'm tripping. I think it's Australia, or is it New Zealand? Somebody in the chat, do you guys know who's doing the age verification one? All I know is I read a whole article the other day of how difficult it has been to try and implement it, because I think it went into effect last year, like in December, and so this year they're like been testing it and stuff. Democratic Assembly member Rebecca Barkan, meanwhile, says she fully expected that big tech companies would challenge this because the interest of the state to protect kids from the harms of social media is so significant. Barkan was just as confident in their chatbot safety bill. So this is the article from Politico. We're gonna go into his video. Hold on, let me check the chat and see. California always trampling on constitutional rights. Hey, Vamps from Romania. You can't censor speech in just the areas they won't. Yeah, Jesse says they want a way to go after people who post reactive speech against the actual hate speech, it appears. Let's see what else. Newsom wants California to be like the UK. Yeah, is it the UK? So then I might be right, Jesse. My best friend on earth is a London officer, and he says he will be leaving the UK for the Scotland Yard because he's arresting good people for social media posts. Oh, so no, I'm talking about the age restriction thing. Do you guys know if that's New Zealand or is that? It's one of those three. You're confused about the bill. What does it say? Okay, so he's gonna get into it here. Let me go ahead and play this video real quick. And he's saying, hold on, real quick. He's saying, where are all the celebs fighting for free speech against Newsom and SB 771? So here he's gonna explain.
You thought I was exaggerating about Newsom's bill to silence us on social media. This is X's global government affairs account, and they're urging Gavin Newsom to do the right thing by vetoing California SB 771, the bill that holds social media platforms liable for penalties if their algorithms facilitate hateful content. I would guarantee you that Newsom thinks me calling him out for letting 12 senior citizens burn alive in Pacific Palisades, I would guarantee him and his social media team would consider that hateful content. So we got to call Newsom's office, everybody, and just tell them if he's down with free speech like he's been saying every interview possible. You know who should also speak up about this bill is Jimmy Kimmel, because he's Mr. Free Speech right now. Jimmy, why don't you tell Newsom, hey, you want to have your social media accounts not be penalized and potentially taken down. So I would think this is a priority for all the 400 plus celebrities that were fighting for free speech last week.
Did I get the circle of death, y'all? What's going on? Hold on.
And all the people boycotting Disney and ABC. Well, maybe you should boycott Newsom's SB 771 if we care about free speech, because you know what's more important than Jimmy Kimmel's show on ABC? Your phone and being able to get information on social media apps. So if there's one thing we've all learned after the pandemic, and which is clear from the lawsuits that just came out with Jim Jordan's investigation, that YouTube and Zuckerberg already said that, you know, the Biden administration made him delete anything they asked. You know, they'll do that. So you don't think Newsom in California?
I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm buffering. Is this they're trying to silence me? I don't know what's going on. The Wi-Fi is on. Okay, we might not be able to watch the rest of the video.
California, they get this bill through, aren't going to delete all your accounts because they're going to penalize these companies up to $1 million. You think they're going to be like, oh, let me pay that $1 million fine so Spencer can keep?
It's at the end, but basically saying like, let me see if it'll play. Maybe it's just buffering. Sorry, y'all. Why do we always have technical difficulties on the show? I wish there was one show where it didn't happen. But basically, he ends up saying that, you know, instead of them wanting to pay the $1 million, they're gonna just delete your account so they don't have to worry about it. And there's no telling what they're gonna consider hate speech or not hate speech. So what it's saying is that they don't want the algorithm to pick up this stuff and be put on like the For You page on X or the For You page on TikTok where people can like see it. And so they want the algorithms to kind of like suppress what they feel is hate speech, which they're saying is stuff that's threatening. So that's the thing. It's like you don't know what would be considered hate speech. Like they could just say, "Oh, Spencer is hate speech. He's trying to go after Newsom." So, anyways, let's get on to the next slide.
Had brush at his state park caused burn alive.
So yeah, he's basically saying that he caused them to burn alive. So it'll go great with this next thread because so that's the whole SB 771 of it. If you guys are in California, you know, might want to consider reading up on it. And if you agree with Spencer, you know, veto, you know, helping out with that. I'm gonna link the law. I'm gonna go look it up and link it in the description for you guys. So I'll do that. This is from Wall Street Apes. It says Spencer Pratt exposes every outright lie with evidence. So he's going after Gavin Newsom. So not only did he recently take this on, oh, thank you, Jesse and Max. I appreciate it. They can't control the algorithm. What is the algorithm? I don't know what that is. Okay, so anyway, so he's taking on Gavin Newsom still. So this is Spencer Pratt exposes every outright lie with evidence. Gavin Newsom just told during his New York Times interview about the Pacific Palisades fire. This was today, I guess, or yesterday. He gave an interview to the New York Times, and we know they don't be fact checking. Newsom's lies. We had 100-mile-per-hour winds. The truth? Weather data confirms 38-mile-per-hour winds that day of the fire. Newsom's lie. The fires were unprecedented in the middle of the winter. The truth? In an official letter, Newsom wrote, California has long faced a year-round fire season. So what does it matter that it was in the middle of winter? Newsom has already acknowledged that fires are a year-round threat. This is a typo. Newsom's lie. He said he had fire trucks pre-positioned. The truth? I've personally posted multiple videos of residents saying no fire trucks showed up huge amounts of times and showed the fires burning. And yes, there's also video that there was cop cars in the vicinity. Once everybody started evacuating, somebody just posted, I think yesterday, she said her elderly parents were not evacuating because there was no evacuation orders. And they're like, we'll leave when they tell us to leave. So they finally just drove up there to get their parents out. And they said that when they finally got out, that at the bottom of the hill or whatever, there was cop cars, but none of the cop cars were going up there to evacuate these people or to tell them, hey, you have to evacuate. But that there was no fire trucks, no paramedics, nothing. It was just cop cars down there at the bottom of the hill. So, I mean, there's eyewitness testimony. Like now we have phones and all this stuff. So Newsom also talked about all the equipment he had bought and ready. We know that's all a lie because most of the equipment was non-operational. There was an entire yard of non-operational fire trucks and ambulances, as well as other departments. So we're going to play another one.
Because I think we now have, we're 8 months, we're 8 months past it. We're 8 months past those tragic fires. Looking back, what could Los Angeles have done better? And what could the state have done better to prepare for an event like that and respond in the immediate aftermath?
California has the largest aerial firefighting fleet in the world. We've doubled the CAL FIRE state budget in the last 6 years. LA County is the most resource county in the United States of America in terms of firefighting personnel. We pre-positioned 104 engines from Northern California and throughout the region. We were on site within hours of that fight. Here was the challenge. You had 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Hey, Gavin Newsom, stop lying. There was no hurricane winds in the Pacific Palisades. The winds were max speed, 38 miles per hour, not 100-mile-per-hour winds. So if you could please stop lying about letting the Palisades burn to the ground, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Our winds attached to a fire. Unprecedented. In the middle of the winter.
Still going, sorry.
We had the red.
Why Why does it matter, Newsom, that it was in the winter? You even said in your great little letter here, California has long faced a year-round fire season. So does it matter that it was in the middle of the winter? You can't be prepared. Your own letter says California knows that fires come whenever.
Flag warnings, the Office of Emergency Services, all our partnership and mutual aid system had begun the process of pre-positioning, and they were overwhelmed by that moment. There's an after-action report that's about to come out, independent, that I believe, I haven't had a chance to review it, will only reinforce the frame that I just presented. And that's the new reality we're in.
So is the answer nothing? There's nothing?
There's, of course, everything could have been.
Thankfully for the New York Times journalist following up and is like, so there's nothing you've learned. There's nothing. He should have said, actually, but Newsom, out of the top 10 worst wildfires in the history of California, 7 of them have been during your reign of governor. So do you think there's a coincidence here? Like maybe just buying these helicopters isn't enough. Maybe you got to clear your dead brush. Maybe you got to have better planning and strategies or something, instead of be like, oh, I think there's an independent investigation, but I haven't looked at it, but it'll say what I want it to say in the frame. Maybe you should be looking at this every day instead of doing media tours across the nation running for president. Just stop wasting your time, and maybe you can focus on California and making California stop burning down.
So yeah, he is on his butt. So this is where he's like, also Karen, we're gonna get into Karen, but yeah, that video, he's like, dude, stop lying, stop trying to, do these media press tours to become if Newsom's lips are moving, he's lying. And it's so crazy how like straightforward he lies, because the receipts are there. You saw the winds were 38 miles per hour. Hey Hens and who else came in earlier? KB. How are y'all doing? Thank you so much for stopping by. We're still in the middle of Spence's stories. Because he's going after Karen Bass too. He is not stopping. This one says, Mayor Karen Bass had posted, this morning I was in the Palisades to welcome seniors back home. This was 2 days ago. To Casa Gateway after the devastation of the January wildfires. This is about restoring dignity, stability, and peace of mind for Angelenos to feel safe everywhere. And he is on her ass because he said, not the 12 seniors you let burn alive while you were in Africa. Ooh, he clapped back. And, she was the mayor. She was the mayor during that time. So he's not going to let up on Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. He is on their butts. He wants them to be held accountable. And he is going, let's watch this video because Secretary Duffy has now entered the chat. So we're going to watch what he has to say about him. It says, did former President Biden's trip to the Palisades ground any resources to fight the fire? Well, we are going to find out. The deadline is October 15th. So now he's going after Biden too. He's going after everybody. He literally, like, the best investigative, like, journalism, like he's not stopping. If somebody tells him no and shuts a door, he goes and opens up a new one. And that's what he's doing by messaging this letter or delivering this letter to the Honorable Secretary Duffy, who's the Secretary of Transportation, I believe. Let's just watch this video and see what he's got to say.
Oh, we got some breaking news here. We got a lovely letter to the United States Department of Transportation, Mr. Secretary Duffy, regarding the Pacific Palisades fires, because on the day of January 7th, there were a lot of concerns, a lot of, we can call them rumors right now, a lot of sources saying that there were potential grounding of resources due to former President Biden's visit to the Palisades in January at the same time. So our congressional investigation would like to request any information that pertains to the grounding of resources that would have been used to put out the Palisades fire or any other effects based on President Biden's visit. This is really interesting because I have filed, I want to say, 4 Freedom of Information Act requests to get this information from CAL FIRE. Oh, no. They keep on declining the request. So Mr. Secretary Duffy's going to get us this information. And respectfully, if he doesn't, we're going to subpoena it and we will find out if there was any flight restrictions due to Air Force One or President Biden's motorcade or anything during the Palisades fire. Stay tuned.
So again, he's unpacking everything, guys. He's not leaving a single stone unturned. He's gonna get to the bottom of this. Like, these 12 senior citizens, he's taking it super serious. He's like, they lost their lives. This is, I don't know if you guys heard that he said that out of the 10 biggest wildfires, 7 of them were under Gavin Newsom. And he's saying, like, what are you doing wrong? When are you going to start like digging into what we can do to prevent this stuff? And that's what he's doing. So Secretary Duffy has not answered the chat because now they want this information. He's going after CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE has not been cooperative. And he said 4 Freedom of Information Acts that were denied, or requests that were denied. Freedom of Information requests that were denied. And now he's asking Secretary Duffy. So another thing that has just happened in the last couple of days, this has all been since the 29th, all of these updates, you guys, is that Pam Bondi has now entered the chat. Because you guys remember the last update, we told you guys Rick Scott was helping out with their own independent investigation, right? Because there's a independent investigation through CAL FIRE and all that stuff, but this is it's a congressional investigation. It says, great meeting with Pam Bondi today. She's doing a fantastic job working with us to get answers on the California wildfires in January for the victims. I'm proud to partner with her and Senator Ron Johnson on our congressional investigation to understand what led to the devastation in the Palisades and ensure it never happens again. So y'all remember, he went all the way to Washington, D.C. This is, he literally saw Rick Scott like walking around the Palisades. I guess he had like visited, and he approached him and was like, hey, what can you do for us? And then everyone was like, oh, Spencer is MAGA and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I don't care. Like, if it's a Republican or a Democrat, no Democrats came down here. Otherwise, I would have asked a Democrat, but nobody came down here to see how we're doing and all that stuff. He's like, this is someone who's willing to do something. So I'm not going to be like, oh, this person's a Republican or whatever. It's whoever's going to help get the truth out there. And so I'm really proud of him for not backing down after everybody went after him, because, he was working with Rick Scott. So Secretary Duffy has entered the chat. Pam Bondi has entered the chat. We now have him also trying to go against this freedom of speech bill. Like, Spencer Pratt is crazy. The other thing that just happened a couple days ago, it says the EPA has told me that Karen Bass has not shared any data or testing results with them. So he's basically saying that when the Maui fires happened, there's this thing called like topsoil or whatever, where there's like a ton of like, I guess, I don't know if it's like toxic chemicals or whatever after there's fires that like settle into the soil. And in Maui, they removed 1 foot of the upper soil or whatever, and Karen Bass only removed 6 inches. So she didn't go deep down further enough. And they just did an episode on their podcast on it, how they had to pay $2,000 of their own money to test the soil on their property to be able to rebuild, because like it's basically all these toxic chemicals. So he's calling the EPA. Look, the EPA just told me. So he's literally like calling these people, holding them accountable. I don't know. I get so excited over it, but this is Spencer Pratt's ex. It's at Spencer Pratt. Go follow him for all the latest. It's super spicy and in a good way, because he's trying to do something to prevent it from future generations. Like, he grew up in the Palisades. His parents were there. His kids went to school there. He's got two little boys. Their futures is in the Palisades. They could have easily just left the Palisades and been like, oh, well, like, we're done with that or whatever, sold their lot, whatever. But instead, and I see, oh, look, we have some familiar names. Joe Abad. Hey, Joe, already follows Spencer. But yeah, he goes after them. Here you see him saying Karen Bass is killing more dogs than in LA shelters than any mayor ever. So definitely keep her away from dogs. So now I don't know what that deal is with the LA shelter dog thing. I mean, he's got a microscope on these people, and these are, the representatives. So if you're from California and want to support Spencer, this is where you can see what the latest is on him and all that stuff. But yeah, he goes after them on his ex. Look, Karen, you know that this isn't disinformation. Your negligence is what's making, your negligence that made it so rebuilding is the conversation. Because I guess she's like, there's a lot of disinformation out there. Yeah, facts are that your negligence burned 12 seniors alive and burned 7,000 homes. That's facts, because everyone keeps saying that he's spreading disinformation, but you guys saw it yourselves, that he came with the receipts, the letters, everything. So that's the latest on the Spencer thing. Love Spencer calling out the BS, says Jane. Spence has all the time. Yes. And he's doing it as he's supporting Heidi with her musical career. That's another way you guys can support the Pratt family, is downloading, her music on Apple Music. She's got some cool little like dance tracks. And supporting the Fame Game. It's on wherever podcasts are available. You guys can support him with that as they try to rebuild, because they lost everything, their home, everything. So let's just see. They said scam Bondi. Yeah, well, we're still waiting on the Epstein files from scam Bondi. We'll see. We'll see how much she helps with this. Someone said that. Thought that the FOIAs couldn't be denied. I guess they can. I don't know on what grounds they denied them. I love that someone that no one took seriously, like Spencer, stepped up to the plate and became a game changer. Good for him. Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, yeah, that's let's see. DFJ said it's an even bigger problem than that. Fire retardant chemicals change plants primarily by acting as a fertilizer. Ooh, a little bit of science from DFJ here. Acting as a fertilizer that favors invasive species over native plants. Outcompeted local flora. Ooh. Well, I wonder if that's why they were out there with a bunch of seeds, because Spencer was coming after them because he's like, oh, instead of spending taxpayer money on seeds, you need to go clean up all the brush that's in the parks that is still there. Even after he called them out, the brush is still there. But I'm wondering, now that DFJ posted this, if that's why he was planting, or getting all them seeds out to plant new plants out there. Maybe something that's no, you need seeds for local flora. Oh, so maybe that explains the seeds. All right, guys. So moving on from Spencer, we are going into New York Times wants more smoke from Justin Baldoni. They got out of that defamation lawsuit, but apparently they want to go back into litigation with them, because just yesterday, Courthouse News Service, which I love Courthouse News Service. One of the main reasons why I love them is because they always attach the lawsuits or whatever it is to their articles, which I think should be a must for anyone reporting on anything, because that way citizens can go and look at it for themselves. And so I provided the link to that lawsuit in the description if you guys want to go read it for yourselves. It says, the New York Times has now sued Baldoni's production company to recoup costs of tossed defamation suit. They are seeking damages from Justin Baldoni's company under the state's anti-SLAPP law over civil defamation claims that were thrown out in June. It says the New York Times on Tuesday added to the ongoing volley of lawsuits in the Hollywood feud between It Ends With Us stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And they're suing Baldoni's production company over its unsuccessful civil defamation suit surrounding the newspaper's reporting on efforts to tarnish Lively's industry reputation. In a 9-page civil complaint filed in New York Supreme Court, the Times seeks compensatory and punitive damages from Baldoni's production company Wayfair for the cost of litigating defamation claims that were thrown out by a Manhattan federal judge in June. So it goes into like what the story was and how they were granted the dismissal. It says representatives for Baldoni and Wayfair did not immediately respond. So let's go and look at the actual document. It says you are hereby summoned to answer this complaint, and they are serving you with the complaint or whatever. And so here's the complaint. Basically, they're seeking, I believe it was $150,000. Let me scroll down. Which, a company as big as this, like, a lot of people were saying, like, could it be that they're like this is going to reopen discovery for them and stuff? Like, is this smart for them? Because I don't know how that works. What kind of discovery they can, if it's limited to just financial stuff, or like, I don't even know what the answer would be to this. So I guess we'd have to wait to see how the Wayfair parties answer. And it's just so weird for someone as big as the New York Times to try and go after him. This seems like some kind of revenge tactic or something. So it says that the district court dismissed it. So this is the causes of actions. Let's see. Oh, it's New York's anti-SLAPP law. That's what they're stating. Provides that an action involving public petition and participation of prevailing defendant shall recover damages, including costs and attorney fees. The district court's opinions makes clear that Wayfair and its affiliates both commenced and continued the lawsuit against the Times without a substantial basis in fact and law. Under such circumstances, the anti-SLAPP law requires that the Times be awarded its costs and attorney fees. Where did I see it was $150,000? Did I make that up? Oh, no, it's right here. The Times incurred not less than $150,000 in legal fees and costs for defending against the lawsuit, which had no basis in law. So I don't know if Steve Sarowitz is just going to give him the 150 and be done with it, if he's going to fight it or what. But this is definitely something to look out for. I linked it below. I'm just like, if you guys already got out of one lawsuit, why would you, like, it's $150,000. Like, really? Are you all, like, hurting for that much money? I don't know. It just seems weird. Let's see. I hate that corrupt lineman dismissed with prejudice. So wrong. Yeah, and it's really weird. I still don't understand how that got dismissed when it came to the New York Times, because they had the metadata. They were working together before. But if you guys don't follow R.A. Jacobs, Little Miss Jacob on X, she's a good one to follow to just show how crazy the New York Times is, because they took her down. They've taken a bunch of people down. Like even Trump's lawsuit got dismissed against them. And, he's the president. So it's crazy that like even him trying to go after them didn't work. Like, I don't think they haven't had a lawsuit be successful since like the 1970s or something. I don't know. It's Little Miss Jacob has all the info on that, but it's super difficult. I don't know why, like they control so much and you can't, yeah, they have to be able to appeal it. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like attorney fees. They haven't even, here's her ex too. I love her, Little Miss Jacob. Thank you, Laura, for posting that. So go to her ex, and I believe her pin twet. What's going on with me today? I'm mispronouncing everything. Her pinned tweet is about the New York Times and how hard it is to get to them. I mean, she does really good work explaining it. Writing them a check. She's like, "Are you Irma? Did I make you mad?" I'm like, I don't know if they're just gonna be like, it's not worth the headache, because I mean, he's a billionaire. 150 G's isn't that much to a billionaire. But are you kidding? The nerve of the New York Times. It was their unsubstantiated hit piece that caused these issues. Yeah, I don't know. I was just throwing it out there because I don't know. Like, are they gonna want a whole other lawsuit to and I'm like, maybe Ryan and Blake called in a favor, like, dude, can you like swamp them, because now like we're swamped over here, because remember they just filed that motion for our judgment on the pleadings. So maybe they're just like, he just got to win, because they literally did this as he came out and said he was happy, he was fine. Remember that video from yesterday? But yeah, Irma, I get it. I was just throwing it out there, but yeah, you're right. Not a good thing. New York Times versus Sullivan is the case that set the standard for actual malice being required for defamation of public figures. Okay, Katie. Yeah, that's the case. New York Times versus Sullivan. So was that the one that they because before that, that's the one that basically makes it impossible to go after them, right, Katie? Ooh, good job on that, because yeah, that's the one. I'm pretty sure now I remember that she said that. Little Miss Jacob, that's what everything started to turn. Let's see. Interesting move, said Miriam. Why didn't they file a Rule 11 motion for costs and fees in Lively versus Wayfair parties itself? This could backfire. It feels like forum shopping. Praying that this opens up a can of freaking worms for FYT. Fight to the bitter end, says Elizabeth. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't make you mad. Okay. Irma's like, she's not directing it at me. She's directing it at them. F them. The New York Times is the puppet from the rich and powerful. I mean, I don't know. They just keep getting away with like smearing people. Like there's no fact checking. I mean, you guys just saw the interview where they just let Gavin Newsom just lie after lie without like fact checking him or, putting his feet to the fire on his answers. They were unlikely involved in the Van Zam sham. They were likely involved in the Van Zam. Oh, we're not allowed to say that word. I forgot. The Voldemort sham. I wholeheartedly believe that this will absolutely backfire on them. Irma's like, I'm fired up. Let's go. They have a better chance of getting anti-slap from the state court versus federal, from what I understand. Oh, okay. So great insights. I love the chat. The chat is very active, and we have such a great crowd for a morning show today. So I appreciate the Voldemort scam, because we can't say that word. Hens. Every time somebody says that word, they're is it the prerogative of the clerk to accept it? The red writing. Let me see. This document has not yet been reviewed by the court clerk. This is a copy of a pleading filed electronically pursuant to New York State, which at the time of this printout had not yet been reviewed by the county clerk. Yeah, it says they can reject it, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably, because they just got this straight off the press, probably right when it hit. But yeah, it just says it has not been reviewed. So yeah, I guess the clerk can reject it, but I mean, it's probably due to flaws or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it'll go through, but good eye. You good. I can't believe you read it. The writing is so small. So let's continue. So that's the Baldoni of it all. And I want to just bring up, because I wanted to put him smiling. I'm like, screw y'all people. Look at Baldoni with his big old smile. Like, I don't really care what, oops. I wanted to put him with his smile, like, haha, okay, sure, whatever. Because this all happened when he was all Smiley McSmilerson after the airport. Like, can y'all just let him have one day where he's having a good day and he's just like, I'm not worried about it. I'm having a high road. Like, let him get one win. And I'm surprised that let me see if it hit yet, but it hasn't hit the SEO. Thankfully, it's still Justin and his smiley face. I just like it when he's happy. This is like, yeah, it hasn't hit the SEO yet. Thankfully, look, shares his life update. He's doing wonderful. And now look, all these pictures of him smiling. I love to see it. Good for him. So, it hasn't even put a dent. The only reason why I saw it was because it was on It Ends with Lawsuits, the Reddit, which I've been going there more often now. NAG is thinking that the anti-slap lawsuit is why the New York Times requested a final ruling. Oh, they wanted a final ruling so they could go ahead and go on with that? That's funny. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue with the Blake Lively of it all, because ask me why. The New York Times, obviously, they're a big company. They can't afford these attorney fees. So I don't know what the heck they're, but there is a rumor going around. Aaron X Perez I'm like, who started it? No. From It Ends with Lawsuits, but this is like a little citizen rumor, personal opinions and theories that I thought was compelling, because when I was like, I am sat for this. Let me hide this real quick and make me small. Hey, make me tiny. And let me zoom in on this. So their theory is that Blake is in money troubles or cannot afford her attorney fees. And these are the hints that they are basing this theory on. They're basically saying like, like, what's going on in this? They're like, I'm not a lawyer, but I've seen this happen before when a client stops paying their legal bills. Years ago, I had a Manat-sized client and a Wilkie-Far-sized client. So they're not a lawyer, but somehow, I don't know why they would have clients. I don't know what they do for a living, but it says, and did a lot of work for them in a bunch of different areas, and some of them were billable to clients. On one occasion, a client went into receivership or bankruptcy and already had like $2 million in fees. The moment that happened, the firm chopped the pool of people who were available to work for them from 40 down to like 6 to 8. Another time, the same thing happened when the client's VC stopped funding them for some personal dispute. The same thing happened. Most of the available staff who would work on the case were moved. So these are the things that he's saying. He said Ezra's filing was very tepid and lacked any of her usual drama, energy, and verbosity. It also felt like a sad whimper of defeat. They argue they're entitled to damages without having to prove the merits the law demands. It was weird and odd and not like something they usually do. It really felt like they don't really care, but they have to respond to something. Anyways, Ezra's firm has about 450-ish lawyers. Then they said the executive filings recently for fees and damages. At this stage, it seems very odd, but if they're not getting paid, maybe that's why the filings, this is something that their partners would approve, since most of the losses will hit their equity payout. It says Michael Gottlieb saying that they don't have the resources to respond to the motion for judgment on the pleadings. And we'll get into that really quick at the end about their response and how he's basically saying, like, we got 4 depositions. We can't meet this deadline to respond to this. It says his firm has 1,200 lawyers. It's nuts. 1,200. LFTC has 20 for comparison. So in a universe where billable hours are king and you have 2 firms with more than 1,600 lawyers and hundreds of paralegals and hundreds of other professionals who could be billing hours, and what, they're not available? The only cause for a shortage is if the firm has decided to reduce resources because of the client who isn't paying. There is no universal situation where the client is paying their bills and there would ever be a shortage of resources for this case. Law firms of this size are a black hole for money and can produce a supernova of billable hours as long as your invoices don't start aging. Blake isn't paying her bills and it's showing. Well, regardless of whether this theory is true or not, I am stout for it because I really do hope that it's hitting her in the pocketbook and that she's struggling because it's ridiculous. Like, part of the thing that why like my in real life friends think it's such a waste of time and all this stuff that they don't like really get, like, what the heck is up with this lawsuit? One of the things that I get a lot is they basically say, like, this is two rich people fighting, you know, like that's why they don't like take it seriously. They're like, literally, it's two rich people fighting, blah blah blah, which, you know, Baldoni, I mean, he has money or whatever, but I always tell them, like, well, it's about like the justice of it. Like, they literally did all this crazy stuff to try and get this story about Baldoni out, and to me it seems like it's her that's being like the rich, you know, spoiled person, asking for money and asking for all this, when it, like, it wasn't like she had to work with him and this was her boss forever in life. It was like, okay, he might have done, and this is giving her a little bit of leeway, like he might have done something that might have in your head made you feel uncomfortable, but then you stopped working with him and that's it. Like, there's no reason for you to put him in a basement and continue to disparage him. And because a lot of people don't know that on TikTok, the day of the premiere, this random TikToker got a thing saying, like, oh, Baldoni was doing this, this, and this. Who sent her that? That's still going to be my Roman Empire to figure out. And she's not talked about enough. That Jenna Reddick girl, or whatever her last name was, she's not talked about enough. Like, who sent her that? And then the LA Times the next day is like, oh, I heard you got something in your DMs. Like, it's the weirdest story coming out of this case. And I tried to do a deep dive on it once in my early shows, and the video wouldn't play and there was all kinds of stuff. But to me, it's like she was still despair. Yeah. Hens is like, Blake probably sent it. Who knows? But all I'm saying is, like, there was no reason for her to keep it going. It would have been done. Everybody would have gone their separate ways and to warn other people about working with him. But it's like nobody else had that experience but you. Anyways, I digress. But I'm sat for this theory. It says, I knew it. Money issues, says Irma. They thought they could bury Justin and legal team, but they are the ones getting overwhelmed. I'm sure of it. Because, you know, they're saying Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz is a billionaire. And, you know, I don't know if he's footing the bill for everybody. It might seem that way. I don't know how that works as far as how they're splitting the payments. But they're obviously not billionaires. And it could be hitting them in the pocketbook. Again, this is just allegedly. I got my little banner down there. This is all for entertainment, y'all. Don't sue me. This response from chest thumping, the response from chest thumping Ezra was so unhinged without citing case law. Then yesterday she filed a more grounded letter. Something is up. That was Michael Gottlieb's letter, Irma. Her IG post this week was really weird. Okay, see, I love it when the chat leads me into the next slide. Acting like it was a once in a lifetime trip for her, and it sounds like the park sponsored her. Oh, that's the Universal one. I don't have that one, but I do have. Yesterday was Inez's birthday, and instead of a tribute to Inez, my beautiful daughter, I don't know. I don't think she's done tributes to her daughter before, but she should after what she made her go through on that Deadpool stuff. If you guys don't remember, Inez Reynolds was the little girl who was Kidpool, and she was made to say, according to Sean Levy, up to 500 times, repeat the line, take your D out of my mouth, or something like that. I don't recall the exact quote, but take Wolverine's D out of my mouth, something like that. It was something super inappropriate. And she didn't want to say it. And then her dad was basically like, well, I'll get someone else to say it. And then she's like, no, I'll say it. And then they had her rehearse it, according to Sean Levy, up to, or Levy, up to 500 times. So happy birthday to Inez. Sorry that your parents put you through that. I don't know how old she's turning, but her birthday was yesterday. Instead of a tribute post, this is what we got from Miss Betty Boos herself. It says, thank you to at ABC Fine Wine Spirits. And this is like, oh, damages. So this whole ABC stores, if you guys don't know, they're alcohol stores, liquor stores. And I guess this is the work she was doing in Orlando because they're Florida and California based. So this is the work that she was talking about doing. And then she made the trip to Orlando. So it wasn't even like she took her kids to Universal Park or Universal Studios Park for their birthday or whatever. It was like, oh, she was there for work. And then on the side, like, oh, sure, by the way, it's your birthday too. That's just the way, maybe I'm just being a hater, but that's just the way I saw it. Like, okay, like, where's Inez's tribute? Like, you're over here hawking booze. Like, couldn't this have waited till the next day? I don't know. Anyways, I might be being too harsh on her. Sorry, chat. I'm on one today, but I'm just like, really? I saw this post and I was like, really? You're hawking booze again? It says, thank you to the entire team. We've worked so hard getting to share it with you and see you love them too makes us feel so proud and so grateful. Instead of feeling so proud and so grateful about your kid, you're feeling so proud and grateful about your dang iced tea. And so there she is. We're going to scroll through the pictures. Thanks to everyone who celebrated with the party and a hang afterwards. Your support and enthusiasm means the world to us. It makes all the hard work pay off. And then she shouts out, you know, the people who did her clothes. And she's saying she's a hoarder and had these Chanel shoes since 2009. Always to the bold and kind particulars NYT who did her jewelry. And then Maria Tosh for the cute earrings that she was wearing. But so these are the pictures. This is what I put on the thumbnail. There she is, like, forget Inez and her birthday tribute. Yeah, and then it's just like a bunch of random people. She took pictures with a bunch of random people. So there's the Betty Buzz. You know, all stepped up. And then, like, who are all these people? Just random people that are taking pictures with her. So she just posts all these random people. Who knows who these people are, why they're there, or what. But that was her post. And then, of course, Betty Boos is over here. Her comments are limited. Let's see who commented. Betty Boos. Her sister, Lori Lively. This is so pure. Really? This is pure? Okay. So cool. In Club Magazine. So she got a couple of likes there. Not that many comments, right? But yeah, just hawking the booze all over again. And that picture, it just gets me. It's like, it's your daughter's birthday. Really? You're going to post that? And then the damages part is what gets me. It's like you literally just signed a deal with ABC Fine Wine and Spirits to hawk your booze in their stores and yet damages. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we in a lawsuit? Like, your company's fine. I mean, no one's ever going to want to work with you again. So that's my theory. Remember yesterday's episode, I was saying my theory was that she wants to go into this whole like spokesperson for Me Too. That's my theory, is that because nobody wants to work with her after what happened and all the backlash that she got. Because honestly, I said this in the live, Ashley's live yesterday. I was like, it all started with that dang wardrobe conversation. She felt backed into a corner because she effed up with the wardrobe. And Sony was on her ass, and so was the public. And instead of just being like, okay, you guys are right, let's change the wardrobe, she doubled down and then went hell hath no fury on Baldoni. So let me check the chat. ACC has to go into work. I know I'm going a little bit over. I've got like 5 more minutes left, but I appreciate you, ACC. You can catch the rest on replay. Of course, everything's about her. She said her mom would take her out of school every week. Oh, who, Blake? Yeah. She said, don't be sorry. I can't be harsh enough to blackface Betty. Sometimes I do. I feel bad. They're like human or whatever. And I don't want to be like a bully or whatever, but I'm just like, literally, it's your kid's birthday and this is what you post. And I didn't go and do my due diligence as far as like, have they posted tributes to their kids before? I don't know, but I know celebrities do it all the time. And Inez deserves a nice little tribute after what she got put through with Deadpool. I also think that there are marriage issues between RR and BL. Yes, that's what we went over yesterday, and that he's cutting her off. Oh, financially? Ooh, that's a good theory. Something is up with that. We are starting to see smear pieces on RR from BL. Maybe. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. No one thinks you're a bully. No, sometimes I'm like, am I going a little bit too hard? Let me back it up. But I don't know. That post just triggered me. It was mostly this picture that triggered me. It was this one right there. Where I'm like, literally, your tea is, I don't know. For some reason, it just did. And then, she talks about, oh, people looking at her boobs or whatever. And like, her boobs are out right there. Everybody's looking at her boobs right there. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Okay, so let's move on into not actually Golden Nag, who made a video on the motion for judgment on the pleadings response from Lively. We're just going to go. I love when they summarize it like this, so we don't have to play the whole video. But so she starts off with saying that Lively is big mad. Lively is furious that Wayfair filed the MJOP. I was calling it the MOP, but I forgot the J. So it's motion for judgment on the pleading. So it's not a MOP, it's an MJOP. So the MJOP is, they're mad about it. Argues that they should wait for summary judgment, which is just like her opinion, because if you guys saw yesterday, the little picture from, let me pause this real quick. The little picture from NAG where it says what the steps are, it goes the complaint, and then the answer, and then the motion for judgment on the pleadings, and then the summary judgment. So this is kind of like to streamline things before the summary judgment. It says wants facts from discovery included, not just the law. Well, the facts from the discovery is what the summary judgment is for. So they're allowed to file an MJOP. MJOP focuses only on law, not facts. The complaint treated as true regardless of discovery. It says the timing fight. Lively says Wayfair waited until the end of discovery to file. Points to rules on timeliness and promptness. MJOP can be filed anytime as long as the trial is not delayed. That's what they're saying. It's like the trial is not for 6 months, so they can file that now. And it seems reasonable to file it now to streamline what's going to go into the motion for summary judgment. It says, Lively argues she can amend with new facts. Courts rarely allow an amendment after discovery closes, is what NAG is saying. The motion argues wrong employer was named in the CRD complaint. Statute of limitations has passed on that claim. Footnote shows Lively fixed it mid-case with a new right to sue letter. Ooh, so I didn't see that on the footnote that she did fix it. I guess that's news to me. I didn't see that footnote. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. It says depositions of Baldoni, Heath, Wayfair, and Sarowitz. Oh, so it was Wallace was the fourth person that remember I said it was the big four? So it's Wallace, Sarowitz, Heath, and Baldoni still pending. Lively requests a month-long extension to respond. And NAG says that the judge usually only gives 7 days, maybe slightly more. But they're asking for 17 days. Judge could not reject the MJOP outright without risking error. They're likely to limit response time rather than block it. Ruling expected before the summary judgment filing. So that's what she had to say on it. But I'm interested in this footnote that they fixed that. Let me see if I can find the footnote here, because I have it up. Let's see. Or maybe they just put up 3 pages on here. For purposes, but the burden of pleading. I don't see it. Not only does that render the argument inappropriate for resolution. Oh, it says, to take just one example, the motion asserts that Miss Lively has failed to exhaust her administrative remedies against It Ends With Us movies, but the burden of pleading and proving Title VII exhaustion lies with defendants and operates as an affirmative defense. Not only does that render this argument inappropriate for resolution, It Ends With Us does not even raise this affirmative defense in its answer. In other words, not only did It Ends With Us move for judgment on the pleadings based on an affirmative defense it had not pleaded, but because of that failure, Miss Lively would be entitled to judgment on this particular defense, not It Ends With Us movie. In any event, and further demonstrating the wastefulness of it, Miss Lively amended her CRD complaint and received the right to sue letters with respect to It Ends With Us during the pendency of this action. All is well established in this district that is sufficient. So I guess at some point she amended the CRD and then got the right to sue letter. maybe they don't know that and they weren't sure about it. So this is from a citizen that I wanted to highlight, at TV Movie Addict on X. I love her stuff. It says, Blake keeps shifting the rules. First, she claimed she didn't need to prove harassment. Now she's asking the judge to block Wayfarer's motion instead of just answering it. And they do say on this one, in one part of it, like, well, we will answer, but we want you to block it. And in the lieu of that, we just want more time to answer it. And that's where people are like, well, how do you need more time? You said Ellen could, when Ellen had a meeting or something for the deposition, and they said, we don't have lawyers enough to cover it for an 8 a.m. time. You said, well, find a lawyer, when they only have 20, and you can't find a lawyer with 1,600 people. That's why they're saying, is this a money thing? So yeah, that's the gist of it all. It still doesn't make sense to me how she got a right to sue letter without an investigation. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to deep dive into it. I just saw the response yesterday, so I didn't get to really get into it. I want to see what a little girl attorney says, and that, you know, that person on Reddit also that does the summaries as well. I want to read that summary and just see what other lawyers and stuff are saying about it. I would totally wear strawberry jewelry with that outfit. She did put a little strawberry in the caption, Wrathful. Blake did. Let's see. Bizio says it is called strategy, and then announced that they might file it on July 31st during the conference. Yeah, she fixed it, but there is the exhibit with the amended CRD. So Google AI is saying that the CRD complaint could only be amended via Superior Court, not with the CRD. Not sure how true that is. Huh. Okay, Marie. Well, we'll definitely look into it. And for tomorrow's show, hopefully I have some answers. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. I wanted to give you guys one last little tidbit of news on a case that we've been following. If you guys want to be updated on the latest, go follow me on X in this community. It's called Objection Celebrity Court Chatter. We're still looking for that one member to reach our 50 goal. So if you're not already a community member in that community, go over to X and join, because we spilled some tea yesterday. Do you guys remember the Taylor Swift lawsuit that we've been covering? The Florida poet? Remember we went over it line by line, and we even said it was BS. This is the one where they couldn't find her to serve her. But remember when we went to it line by line and we're like, okay, you don't own, you know, the rhyming of like love and dove or something, you know, like it was something so simple that we're like, no, I think we all decided as a community during that live that it didn't have any legs. And so the judge agreed. We covered this IP case on the channel and how the Florida poet could not find and serve Taylor. It looks like the lawsuit has been dismissed. Taylor Swift's lawsuit dismissed. Judge rules that the star did not copy the poems for the song lyrics and that it was frivolous and entirely baseless. So yeah, it wasn't because she wasn't able to be served or anything like that. A lot of people thought maybe that's why the judge dismissed it, but no, he just dismissed it on the merits. It had no merit. So one last little news tidbit for you guys to end the morning. I wish you guys all a very, very good morning. Let's see. Thank you, CJ and mods. Bye, chat. Elizabeth Wilson. Goodbye, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the mods. Thank you, DFJ and Laura. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and happy October to you all. We will see you guys tomorrow morning, and we will be covering the latest on the Costner stuff, plus anything else that has happened with Blake. So thank you guys for another great show. I appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow.